Stop everything you're doing and listen closely because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you think about relationships forever. Most men live in a dangerous illusion. They think that youth is simple, that attraction is enough, that attention equals commitment. They are wrong, dead wrong. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she does not care about your money, your charm, or your status. She cares about one thing, one subtle, quiet thing that most men never notice until it's too late. She's watching your life, measuring your clarity, your direction, and your ability to lead with purpose. And if you fail even slightly, she will step away silently, without drama, without explanation, and often forever. Most men think attraction is a game. They think admiration is a guarantee. They think flirtation is investment. But she is not playing games. She is observing, evaluating, and deciding. Every word you speak, every action you take, every hesitation, every undefined moment, it is all under her microscope. And here's the shocking part. She will not warn you. She will not negotiate with ambiguity. She will protect herself. And if your life lacks stability, direction, and clarity, she will walk. So if you've ever wondered why serious younger women lose interest, why they seem to vanish without reason, or why charm alone never keeps them, you need to understand this. She is serious, she is intentional, she is decisive, and she will only invest in a man who can provide clarity, alignment, and vision. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly what she is looking for, why most men fail, and how you can be the man she cannot resist, but only if you are ready to face the truth and act. Watch closely, because this is not advice you've ever heard before, and it is not for the faint of heart. Every second you hesitate could be the second she decides someone else deserves what you're giving away. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she doesn't start with shallow questions. She doesn't ask about your money, your car, or even where you like to travel. Those are distractions, illusions of attraction that the world has taught men to expect. No, when she is serious, her mind goes straight to the core of what matters, the future. And the question she asks is deceptively simple, but it carries more weight than 100 romantic gestures. She asks, "Where do I fit in your future?" Think about that for a moment. It's not a question about excitement. It's not a question about your charm. It's not even about your past accomplishments. It's about direction. It's about stability. It's about whether the life you are building has space for her. That question, quiet as it may sound, is a test of your clarity, your purpose, and your emotional maturity. Most men underestimate it. They hear it and think it's casual, a passing curiosity, but it is not. It is a challenge. It is the moment when the illusion of attraction meets the reality of intention. When she asks this, she is evaluating whether your life aligns with hers. She is evaluating whether you are a man who moves forward with intention or a man who drifts through life reacting to circumstances. Youth sees life in terms of possibility and potential. Experience sees life in terms of reality and consequence. When a younger woman comes to an older man and asks about the future, she is measuring whether your reality can hold her potential. She wants to know if she will be part of growth, part of progress, part of something meaningful, or if she will simply be another fleeting chapter in your story. Most older men think that age automatically commands respect and trust. They assume that experience equals authority. They assume that just because they have lived longer, they have proven themselves. But the truth is far harsher. Age without clarity is meaningless. Status without vision is empty. Money without direction is shallow. A serious younger woman sees this immediately. She doesn't need to be told about your achievements. She observes how you live your life, how you make decisions, how you handle challenges, and how you speak about your own future. Every action, every word, every choice is being weighed against the question, can I see myself in this man's life 5 years from now, 10 years from now? And here is the reality that will shock most men. She is not asking this question to manipulate you. She is not trying to trap you or test you for sport. She is asking because she is serious. She is asking because she is willing to invest her heart, her energy, her time, and her prime years into a life with a man who shows her that he has thought about tomorrow. She is asking because she has seen enough immaturity in her peers, enough instability, enough distraction. She has learned that admiration without clarity leads to disappointment, that attraction without vision leads to heartbreak. When she asks, where do I fit in your future? She is inviting honesty. She is inviting transparency. She is asking you to step out of illusions and to meet her in reality. And this is where most men falter. They stumble, they hesitate. They try to avoid the question, thinking it is too soon or that defining the future will scare her away. But the opposite is true. Clarity attracts her. Direction inspires her. Intentionality reassures her. Hesitation creates doubt, and doubt leads to distance. She is not asking you to outline every detail, to provide a roadmap that predicts every twist and turn. She is asking you to demonstrate that you have considered her presence in your life. She is asking you to show that your life is not chaotic, that your actions are not aimless, that your time is not wasted. She is asking you to prove that you are building something meaningful and that she is not just a passenger along for the ride. When a younger woman is serious, her question is also a reflection of her self-respect. She understands the value of her time, of her youth, and of her emotional energy. She knows that she cannot afford to gamble with uncertainty. She knows that every relationship is an investment, and she is seeking a partner who is capable of matching her investment with intention, focus, and clarity. She is not seeking perfection. She is seeking alignment. She is not seeking fantasy. She is seeking reality. And so the power of this question cannot be overstated. It is the moment of truth, the litmus test of maturity, the point at which admiration meets action. If you can answer her honestly, if you can show her that your life has structure, vision, and space for a committed future, she will move closer, she will invest, she will trust, and she will choose. If you falter, if you dodge, if you fail to demonstrate clarity, she will step back silently and often irreversibly. She does not argue with confusion. She does not negotiate with uncertainty. She does not linger in ambiguity. So here is what you need to understand. The question she asks is not a threat. It is an opportunity to demonstrate your depth, your vision, and your readiness for something meaningful. An opportunity to separate yourself from every man who has ever treated her time, attention, or presence as expendable. An opportunity to show that maturity is more than age, that leadership is more than experience, that attraction is more than charm. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she asks a simple question that carries monumental weight. And your response to that question will determine everything. Whether she stays, whether she invests, whether she sees a future with you, or whether she quietly walks away. Do not underestimate her inquiry. Do not dismiss it as casual curiosity. Do not confuse attraction with commitment. The question is simple, but the answer must be deliberate. The answer must be clear. The answer must reflect the life you are building, the values you live by, and the man you are becoming. Because at the end of the day, clarity is not just attractive, it is decisive. And the moment you can answer her truly and without hesitation, you will no longer be just admired. You will be chosen. Remember this. A woman who asks about your future is not testing your charm, she is measuring your legacy. If you can answer her, you create connection, trust, and devotion that lasts. If you cannot, you teach her to walk away. The choice is yours, and it begins with clarity. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she is not impressed by the things most men assume will impress her. She is not dazzled by flashy cars, designer clothes, or expensive dinners. She is not hypnotized by your stories of adventure or your ability to, oh, charm a room. Those things are temporary. They are superficial. They are the distractions the world teaches men to lean on. What she truly observes, what she truly measures, is your stability. Not your status, not your bank account, but your stability in life, in mind, and in spirit. Stability is magnetic to seriousness. It is the unspoken language of maturity, and it speaks louder than any compliment or flirtation. When she looks at you, she is watching how you carry yourself through challenges, how you handle pressure, and how you navigate uncertainty. She observes whether your emotions dictate your actions or whether your principles do. She notices whether your decisions are consistent with your values and whether your life has direction, structure, and purpose. This is what she is evaluating when she spends time with you. Not your charm, not your wit, not your ability to entertain. Stability is the foundation upon which she measures the possibility of investing her heart. Most older men assume that being older automatically grants authority or respect. They think experience alone is enough. They believe that their age, their history, or their social position will signal to a younger woman that they are worth serious consideration. This is a dangerous illusion. Experience without growth is hollow. Authority without integrity is empty. Status without stability is meaningless. A younger woman who is serious will see through every facade, every pretense, every carefully constructed image. She doesn't just listen to what you say, she observes what you do. She watches how you treat people around you, how you respond to setbacks, and how you prioritize what truly matters in life. These subtle cues are far more telling than any words you might speak. She is drawn to men who demonstrate reliability. She is attracted to men whose lives are aligned with purpose. She stained. EDs, whether your commitments reflect consistency, whether your work ethic matches your words, and whether your relationships with family, friends, colleagues reveal integrity. She is not seeking perfection, but she is seeking alignment between what you claim to value and how you actually live. She can sense it immediately when there is dissonance, when words and actions do not match. This is where many men fail without even realizing it. They assume that surface level charm can mask inconsistency. It cannot. The reality is that when she is serious, she is looking for a partner, not a show. She is seeking someone who can navigate life without losing his composure, someone who can make decisions without being consumed by ego, and someone who can provide guidance without being controlling. She wants to see that you can handle yourself, that you can handle challenges, and that you can handle a relationship with thoughtfulness and intention. Stability is not about rigidity. It is about resilience. It is about balance. And it is this balance that signals to her that you are someone she can rely on, someone whose presence enhances her life rather than destabilizes it. This is where the distinction becomes shocking to most men. They confuse attention with attraction, admiration with respect. They think that because a younger woman enjoys their company, laughs at their jokes, or flirts playfully, she is serious. She may enjoy those things, but her seriousness is revealed in the questions she asks, the boundaries she sets, and the way she evaluates your life. She tests your stability not because she doubts you, but because she values herself and her time. She is not willing to gamble her youth and energy on uncertainty. She wants assurance, evidence, and alignment. When she observes that your life is unstructured, chaotic, or inconsistent, she loses interest quietly. He does not confront. She does not argue. She does not create drama. She simply shifts her investment elsewhere. She is strategic, intentional, and mindful of her energy. And here is what is often overlooked. Stability is not just about career success or financial security. It is about emotional consistency. It is about being dependable in moments of pressure. It is about handling disappointment and conflict with grace. It is about showing up not just when it is easy, but when it matters most. A serious younger woman is not seeking to compete with other women. She is not testing you to prove her worth. She is assessing whether your presence in her life creates a safe, grounded, and forward-moving environment. She wants to know whether you can be a partner in building a life that is meaningful, structured, and intentional. She understands that admiration and attraction fade when stability is absent. She knows that love alone cannot sustain a connection if the foundation of reliability, resilience, and alignment is missing. The men who are most successful with serious younger women are those who understand this principle deeply. They do not rely on superficial charm. They do not try to impress with possessions or performance. They demonstrate stability through consistent action, clear priorities, and principled decision-making. They live intentionally, and in doing so, they make space for the woman who seeks serious partnership. Stability is not something you claim. It is something you live. It is something she senses even before words are exchanged. So the lesson is clear. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she is evaluating stability, not status. She is measuring consistency, not charisma. She is assessing alignment, not admiration. If you want to attract, retain, and inspire a serious woman, you must embody the stability she seeks. You must show her through your actions, your choices, and your life that you are reliable, grounded, and intentional. Because charm fades, status fluctuates, and wealth can disappear. But stability endures. Stability builds trust. Stability creates devotion. And stability is the true language of seriousness. Remember this: a younger woman who is serious will see through everything that is not authentic. She will recognize chaos dressed as confidence, inconsistency masquerading as charm, and emptiness hiding behind status. She is not impressed by appearances. She is inspired by substance. She is drawn to the man who can provide clarity, direction, and steadfastness. If you embody that, she will invest her heart fully. If you do not, she will quietly move on, leaving you to wonder what happened. Stability is not optional. It is essential. It is the unspoken measure of a man's worth in the eyes of a serious younger woman. And the moment you understand this, you will no longer rely on fleeting attraction. You will create connection, trust, and devotion that lasts. The question you must ask yourself is simple. Am I stable enough in mind, in heart, and in life to be the man she needs? The answer will determine whether you are admired or chosen. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she does not tolerate ambiguity. She does not linger in uncertainty. She does not waste her time on games or fleeting moments of attention that have no direction. She is observant, intuitive, and intentional. The moment she senses confusion or hesitation from a man she is considering, she instinctively steps back. She does not need words to understand the atmosphere of your life, the energy you project, or the clarity you carry. Seriousness has a radar for inconsistency, and it recognizes when a man's intentions are undefined. This is where most older men fail without even realizing it. They assume that attraction is enough. They assume that charm, compliments, or shared experiences will carry a relationship forward. They assume that because a woman enjoys their company or admires them, she will automatically invest. But this is not how seriousness operates. A serious younger woman observes patterns, studies behaviors, and evaluates alignment. She asks herself, is this man leading with clarity, or is he drifting through life with ambiguity? Can I trust him with my heart, my time, and my energy? Ambiguity is the enemy of commitment. A man who hesitates, who avoids defining the relationship, who keeps conversations vague, is signaling uncertainty. And a serious younger woman will not ignore that signal. She may continue to engage with you for a time, testing, observing, seeking clarity, but eventually she will protect herself. She understands that her prime years and emotional investment are not expendable on someone who cannot lead with intention. She knows the cost of uncertainty and she refuses to pay it. When she asks, "What are we?" or seeks to understand where she stands in your life, it is not a demand, it is a necessity. She is asking for alignment, for definition, for clarity. She is not seeking drama or control. She is seeking truth. And the way most men respond to this question determines everything. Some hesitate, some deflect, some avoid. They believe that keeping things vague will preserve freedom or maintain excitement. In reality, it does the exact opposite. It creates distance. It erodes trust. It signals to her that she is not a priority, that her presence in your life is negotiable, and that commitment is optional. A serious younger woman understands the value of her time. She understands the value of her emotional energy. She understands that ambiguity is not a test to be solved. It is a mirror reflecting the clarity or lack thereof of the man she is considering. If she encounters hesitation, she does not confront it with arguments or ultimatums. She observes, she waits, she decides, and often she decides to step back silently. The withdrawal is quiet but decisive. It is not a reaction, it is a reflection of her standards. Here is a truth that will shock most men. A younger woman who is serious is not interested in casual attention. She is not impressed by flirtation, entertainment, or charm that lacks substance. She is not motivated by ego strokes or compliments. She is motivated by intention, consistency, and clarity. She wants to see that the man she invests in knows exactly where he stands and that he knows exactly where she fits into his life. Anything less creates confusion. Anything less creates detachment. Anything less risks losing her entirely. Many men make the mistake of believing that ambiguity protects them, that keeping a relationship undefined gives them control. The opposite is true. Ambiguity seeds control to doubt. It allows insecurity to creep in. It opens the door for disinterest. A younger woman who is serious will not wait forever for a man to figure things out. She is observing how you navigate uncertainty, how you handle difficult conversations, and how you define boundaries. Her patience has limits. Her engagement has conditions. And her silence is often louder than any argument she could make. The serious younger woman values honesty above convenience. She prefers confrontation over confusion. She prefers a clear no to a misleading maybe. She understands that commitment cannot thrive in an environment where intentions are unclear. She recognizes the difference between entertainment and investment, between admiration and devotion, between attention and alignment, and she acts accordingly. When you hesitate to define the relationship, when you avoid the question of what you want, when you fail to provide clarity, you are not preserving freedom. You are signaling doubt. You are signaling disinterest. And a serious younger woman will not ignore that signal. She will internalize it. She will internalize it. She will evaluate it. And she will decide whether your life is compatible with hers. Ambiguity forces her to protect herself, and protection often means distancing from the very man who could have been her choice. Understanding this dynamic is essential for any man who seeks a serious relationship with a younger woman. Seriousness is not casual. Seriousness is intentional. Seriousness respects itself and demands clarity in return. If you wish to attract, retain, and inspire a serious woman, you must be willing to step out of hesitation and provide definition. You must be willing to answer her questions honestly, openly, and confidently. You must demonstrate that your life has direction and that she has a place within it. Without this, all charm, all charisma, and all attention become meaningless. The lesson here is simple but profound. Ambiguity destroys connection. Clarity builds it. Hesitation creates distance. Intention closes it. A younger woman who is serious will not linger where she is unsure. She will not invest where she doubts. She will not commit where she perceives confusion. She will measure your life, your decisions, and your actions against the reality she desires. And her conclusion will determine whether you are admired or chosen, whether you are fleeting or permanent, whether you are noticed or valued. If you want to be the man she chooses, if you want her investment, her attention, and her devotion, you must embrace clarity. You must define your intentions. You must speak your truth and live it consistently. You must remove ambiguity from your interactions and make your priorities unmistakable, because a serious younger woman does not play games, and she will not wait indefinitely for a man to figure things out. Her time is precious, her heart is valuable, and her decision is deliberate. Remember this: the question of ambiguity is not just a question of words, it is a question of character. It is a question of maturity. It is a question of whether you are ready to lead, to define, and to commit. Hesitate, and she will step back. Clarify, and she will step forward. Your choice determines everything. When you understand this, you no longer fear the question. You no longer avoid defining the relationship. You no longer tolerate ambiguity in your own life. You step into clarity, and in doing so, you become the man a serious younger woman can truly trust, invest in, and choose. Clarity is power. Clarity is respect. Clarity is love in its most intentional form. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she does not take her time, her energy, or her emotional investment lightly. She understands that youth is finite, that prime years are fleeting, and that every moment she spends must have meaning. She has seen people waste years on uncertainty, on men who cannot lead, cannot define themselves, or cannot match her ambition. She knows that time is not just a resource, it is the measure of opportunity. And when she considers an older man, she evaluates whether he has the capacity, the foresight, and the stability to be part of the life she is intentionally building. This evaluation is subtle but profound. She is not looking for someone to entertain her. She is not seeking validation through attention. She is seeking alignment with a man whose life trajectory matches hers, whose growth complements hers, and whose future accommodates hers. She asks herself questions that may never be voiced aloud, but whose answers shape every interaction. Will he grow while I grow? Will he support my ambitions? Will he guide me without controlling me? Will he make space for me, or will I be relegated to the margins of his life? These are not casual considerations. They are the calculus of a serious mind, a serious heart, and a serious woman. Most men are shocked when they realize this is how she operates. They believe that attention equals commitment, that flirtation equals investment, or that admiration equals loyalty. But a younger woman who is serious does not function on perception. She functions on reality. She observes patterns, measures consistency, and evaluates alignment. She watches whether a man's life has structure, whether his decisions reflect foresight, and whether his priorities are intentional. She knows that she cannot afford to gamble her prime years on someone who cannot answer these questions with clarity. Her seriousness manifests in subtle behaviors. She becomes protective of her time. She becomes selective in her interactions. She becomes attentive to the details of your life that reveal priorities and stability. She observes how you treat your commitments, how you handle pressure, and how you navigate challenges. She notices whether your life has momentum, whether your actions align with your words, and whether your presence in the world is purposeful. Every choice you make is being measured against the silent standard of compatibility, and if your life is misaligned, she will create distance, not drama. This is where many older men fail to understand the stakes. They mistake engagement for investment. They mistake flirtation for commitment. They mistake attention for seriousness. She may laugh at your jokes, enjoy your company, or even show affection, but if your life does not demonstrate alignment, if your trajectory does not provide space for her growth, she will step back. She does not confront every time. She does not argue about intention. She simply adjusts her investment. She preserves her energy. She protects her future. And often she moves quietly, decisively, without fanfare. A serious younger woman is strategic in her engagement. She evaluates not just the present but the future. She considers whether your ambitions, values, and lifestyle complement hers. She examines whether you can handle the challenges of life without losing direction, and whether your principles are consistent even when circumstances are difficult. She recognizes that a relationship with an older man is not just about admiration or attraction. It is about partnership. It is about joining forces in a life that is intentional, structured, and aligned. This understanding, far deeper, this understanding often shocks men because it is counterintuitive to the narrative society tells them. Men are taught that youth is impulsive, emotional, or naive. They are told that younger women are driven by superficial desires. But a younger woman who is serious has a clarity that is rare. She knows what she wants, she knows what she deserves, and she is unwilling to settle for ambiguity. She evaluates potential partners with the same rigor she applies to her own life. Her standards are not obstacles, they are reflections of self-respect, foresight, and wisdom. Her protection of her prime years is not a limitation, it is a discipline. She understands that emotional investment without clarity is costly. She understands that time spent in uncertainty is wasted energy. She understands that patience has limits and that seriousness cannot free. In chaos, she invests selectively, thoughtfully, and deliberately, ensuring that her heart, mind, and time are aligned with a man who can match her intentionality. This is the reality that older men must grasp. A younger woman who is serious is not asking for instant perfection. She is asking for alignment. She is asking for structure. She is asking for evidence that her investment in you will be met with intention, foresight, and stability. She wants to know that her life can grow alongside yours, that her ambitions will be respected, and that her presence will be valued not as an accessory, but as an integral part of a shared future. When a younger woman is serious, she evaluates the gaps in age and life experience not emotionally, but practically. She asks herself whether your growth trajectory matches hers, whether your life has direction, and whether your presence in her life enhances her path rather than detracts from it. She measures consistency, evaluates alignment, and tests whether your life is structured enough to include hers without compromise. If your life fails to demonstrate this alignment, she will step back silently and often permanently. So here is the truth every man must hear. If you desire a serious younger woman, if you seek investment, loyalty, and intentional connection, you must create space for her in your life. You must demonstrate that your growth is real, your trajectory is intentional, and your life is stable enough to include hers. She is not seeking perfection. She is seeking alignment. She is not chasing fantasy. She is seeking reality. She is not gambling on uncertainty. She is investing wisely. The most powerful insight is this: time is not neutral. Youth is precious. Emotional energy is finite. A serious younger woman knows this. She values herself enough to protect her prime years, and she expects the men she invests in to do the same. Alignment is not optional. Intention is not negotiable. Clarity is essential. Remember this: a younger woman who is serious will measure your life against hers. She will ask herself if her presence enhances your journey and if your presence enhances hers. If the answer is yes, she will invest. If the answer is no, she will walk away quietly, decisively, and without regret. The question is not whether she cares. The question is whether your life is worthy of her investment. Time waits for no one. Prime years are fleeting. Clarity, alignment, and intentionality are the keys to connection. If you want to be chosen, you must create a life in which she can see herself thriving. If you fail, she will invest elsewhere. The choice is yours, and it begins with action. When a younger woman is serious about an older man, she understands that desire alone is not enough. She knows that admiration can be fleeting, attention can be temporary, and charm can be superficial. What she is looking for is clarity, direction, and intentionality. She is searching for a man whose life reflects his values, whose decisions reflect foresight, and whose actions demonstrate reliability. The real difference between being desired and being chosen is not attraction, it is clarity. This is the principle that most men never hear, yet it is the single most powerful factor in a serious relationship. She evaluates whether a man's life has purpose, whether his growth is ongoing, and whether he has a vision that can accommodate a shared future. She is not measuring wealth, status, or looks. She is measuring consistency, alignment, and readiness. Her mind is sharp. Her instincts are precise. She can sense hesitation, inconsistency, or indecision from a mile away. And when she senses these qualities, even subtly, she adjusts her investment. She does not yell, argue, or manipulate. She simply decides. She decides whether her energy, her time, and her heart belong in a life with this man or somewhere else. The shocking truth for most men is that she will not wait indefinitely. Time is not an abstraction for her. It is a resource she cannot reclaim. She understands that emotional energy, youth, and opportunity are finite. She knows that investing in ambiguity is a risk she cannot afford to take. When she asks about the future, when she seeks clarity, when she wants to know exactly where she stands, it is not because she doubts herself, it is because she values herself enough to protect her heart. She is not playing games. She is making decisions with wisdom, foresight, and intention. A serious younger woman can see the difference between a man who is present for superficial reasons and a man who is intentional in every aspect of his life. She notices the gaps between words and actions. She observes whether decisions are made impulsively or thoughtfully. She measures whether your life demonstrates vision, whether your priorities are clear, and whether you can commit to growth not just for yourself, but for a shared future. These subtle indicators are far more important to her than charm, experience, or social status. She wants substance. She wants alignment. She wants truth. This is the point where many men fail to grasp the reality. They assume that because she is present, engaged, or affectionate, she is fully invested. They assume that attraction equals commitment, that attention equals loyalty, that admiration equals permanence. But serious younger women operate on a different level. They understand that a man who cannot provide clarity, who cannot define his intentions, and who cannot show alignment in his life is not someone worth investing in long term. She is not dismissive. She is deliberate. She does not act impulsively, but she does act decisively. They're loyal to something far deeper. They are not tests of devotion. They are invitations for honesty and alignment. When she asks, "Where do I fit in your life?" or "What are we?" she is offering you a chance to demonstrate your readiness, your clarity, and your ability to lead with purpose. If you falter, if you hesitate, if you avoid answering, you are not just creating confusion, you are teaching her that your life is not capable of including hers. And once she internalizes that, no amount of charm, attention, or flirtation can undo the lesson she has learned. A serious younger woman is protective of her emotional and physical energy. She knows the cost of ambiguity. She knows that uncertainty breeds insecurity, and insecurity erodes connection. She understands that investing in a man without clarity can result in heartbreak, wasted years, and missed opportunities. And because she values herself, she acts preemptively. She will withdraw emotionally. She will step back physically, and she will silently reevaluate whether this man's life is worthy of her commitment. She is decisive even when her actions are quiet, and she is observant even when she seems calm. What shocks most men is that her seriousness is not about controlling the relationship. It is about self-respect. It is about foresight. It is about protecting her time, energy, and emotional well-being. She does not need to manipulate or demand clarity. She simply observes and acts based on the alignment or misalignment she sees, and this creates a powerful reality. If you are not clear, intentional, and aligned, she will choose someone who is. She will not wait for you to figure it out. She will not linger in a vacuum of indecision. She will move toward a life that makes sense, that feels secure, and that matches her growth. The men who succeed in relationships with serious younger women are those who understand this principle intuitively. They do not rely on charm, attention, or superficial admiration. They embody clarity. They lead with intention. They demonstrate alignment between words and actions, priorities and behaviors. They understand that love, desire, and attraction are amplified when they are underpinned by direction, stability, and decisiveness. They do not fear questions about the future. They embrace them. They do not hesitate to define the relationship. They clarify it. They do not gamble with ambiguity. They live with purpose. The ultimate lesson is this: clarity determines choice. Ambiguity drives her away. Hesitation creates distance. Indecision signals disinterest. A younger woman who is serious will not invest in chaos. She will not linger where direction is absent. She will not tolerate uncertainty when her own life is moving forward. She is not shallow. She is not impulsive. She is strategic, deliberate, and discerning. Her choice is the result of careful observation, analysis, and reflection, and it is final. So here is the reality every man must face. If you desire the investment, the devotion, and the loyalty of a serious younger woman, you must embody clarity in every aspect of your life. You must demonstrate that your decisions are intentional, that your life has direction, and that your priorities can include hers without compromise. You must act decisively, speak honestly, and live intentionally. Because without clarity, desire is meaningless, attention is fleeting, and charm is empty. Remember this: a serious younger woman does not measure attraction, she measures alignment. She does not evaluate attention, she evaluates intention. She does not assess admiration, she assesses clarity. If you can meet her standards, if you can embody the stability, intenti, onality, and foresight she seeks, you will no longer be desired. You will be chosen, you will be valued, and you will be trusted with something rare: her commitment, her energy, and her time. The question every man must ask himself is this: am I clear enough in my intentions, aligned enough in my actions, and intentional enough in my actions, and intentional enough in my life to be the man she chooses? The answer will determine whether you are admired or selected, whether you are temporary or permanent, whether you are noticed or truly valued. Clarity is not optional. It is essential, and it begins with your life, your decisions, and your willingness to lead with purpose.